Good morning and welcome to Terry Tuesday at Horse Racing today. Terry, how are you on this day named after you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Looking forward to another day of racing at Horseshoe Indianapolis. I'm kind of curious what the weather's going to be like over there. It's a little bit, a few hours west of Chicago. And this morning in Chicago, we have snow, we have rain. So I'm curious to see what the weather will be like over there as the card comes to a close. I'm sure you're not suffering any of those issues today, are you?
It's just a little cold. It was this morning. It was like 52, but that's
so
not cold to you.
No, that's, go outside with no shirt on weather around here at this time of year, Terry.
That's true.
You see the people at the Chicago Bears games, if it's 52, they're going to be in their Speedos, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So interesting. We had a okay day yesterday at Parks. Kind of missed some of those pick fours in there, though. We did hit the two bombs that came through. You had one, I had the other. So that was a nice back-to-back. And we both had the trifecta. So that was a big plus.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
And then last night, we had on a good friend, Craig Praddock from Turf Paradise. Today, Shinny will be running down there. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that show, you can head on, you can just look for it here on Horse Racing Radar TV. You'll see right there, Craig Braddock came in. Great show. Talked a lot about how he got into the business. If you were to get in the business, how he would recommend doing it now. And then additionally, we talked a little bit about the World Cup soccer, Terry.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch that?
I watched most of it, yeah. I had a call came in that I had to take, but I watched about 30 minutes of it. It was pretty good. I always like him. He's a really good, he's very, very forthcoming, tells you all kinds of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff. I was really interested in about how he color codes the stamp that he uses, and he color codes the helmets and the silks. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a really, really, really good time last night. And then tonight, we're going to have on from the NYRA circuit, we will have on Kendrick Carmouche. So you're going to want to make sure you tune in for that. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube. To make sure you don't miss it, please hit the subscribe button while you're here. Also, if you like what we're about to do with the horse racing picks at Horseshoe Indianapolis, then go ahead and give us a thumbs up on Facebook, a like, follow us on our social sites, and then also thumbs up on YouTube as well. Helps us out a little bit with the algorithms. It's a really easy way for you to support the show. All right, Terry, I had to mute you there because you're echoing a little bit again. I wish we can get rid of that somehow, some way, but not quite sure how we're going to do it. Are you ready for Horseshoe Indianapolis?
Yes.
All right, let's get rolling with the horse racing picks today. Race number 1 at Horseshoe Indianapolis. This one is I think if I remember correctly, it's a mile and a 16th on the main track. Let's just double check to make that sure. Yes, it is. It's a claiming $10,000, non-winners of 3 lifetime for a purse of $15,500. In case you're wondering, the kind of horses that tend to win at that distance and surface. You'll find out that early speed does work well. Posts 2 through 7 have been the best place to be. The rail and the 8-horse do suffer some small penalties. Terry, let's look at the way to the winner's circle worksheet today for the races at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Starting off in race number 1, we have the 6-horse getting scratched. Boom. So that's, I think, one of only 2 scratches, interestingly, today. And then we have our first appearance of a left arrow horse. But before we get into that, again, quick recap. Horses that like the pilot win from the lead. EP can be pilot or co-pilot, so wins from the lead are usually no more than 2 lengths off the leader at the quarter-mile marker. Pressure horses, no more than 2 lengths off the leader at the quarter-mile marker, but never, or not usually, never, the pilot. So they chase. Pressure closers, they can be the pilot, they can be the co-pilot, or sit in the coach and then close from the end, and then the same thing for the closers. Yesterday, that 22-1 shot that hit for me, and the race after Terry hit the 25-1, was a left arrow horse. We see another one today with the 3-horse, meaning it's a closer, but its early pace suggests that it has a good chance to get towards the front. And then if it has its normal closing kick, could be a factor when it's all said and done. Terry, when it's all said and done, who do you think is going to be the primary factor?
Well, I like the closer, number 1, Lieutenant Kitty. She likes the track, finishing the money 58% of her starts, and the distance will not be a problem as she's won 20% of those starts. And then I like that left arrow horse you talked about, the 3-horse, Timeless Glory. She drops in class today, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then in my third pick is number 4, Fashion Diva. She won her last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and her jockey in the last 7 days has a record of 13 starts with 6 in the money, 4 wins.
That's what you are around here, right? The Fashion Diva.
That's me. Anyway, I like as my fourth pick, number 5, ZZ Red. ZZ's Red. She has won 2 of her starts at Horseshoe Indianapolis and drops in class today.
Well, if you want to be a fashion diva too, go to horseracingtoday.net, click on that HRT gear, and you can be as fashionable as Terry and I. And that's fashionable, man, let me tell you. I don't think you can get any more fashionable than that. All right, so for me, what hopefully will be in fashion at the end of the race is that we have the winners in another left arrow horse, and that'll be the 3-horse again. Better Fractions last out, drops in class into the claiming ranks for the very first time. And trainer Anthony Granitz hits at 23% the first time he runs around the track, the horse that can be claimed. Number 1, Lieutenant Kitty, jockey Marcelino Pedroza, and trainer Gennaro Garcia. You put these two together, and they win at a sparkling 30%. Number 5, ZZ's Red is one of those early, can be pilot or co-pilot type of horses. Should be in front of most of the other horses in this race who typically want to close. It was a tough call for me over the 4-horse for this spot, but they're better numbers overall, which means the 4-horse goes here. Could be lone speed after going wire to wire in its last race, but it hasn't gone back-to-back W's in a while. Could be potentially better in the third start, classic third start after a layoff. Race 2 at Horseshoe Indianapolis is 1 mile. It's a claiming $12,500. Non-winners of 2 for a purse of $17,000. Profile of a 1 mile winner at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Again, you have early speed being the way to go. You get a small discount if you ride from the rail. 2 and out. Our post positions have played mostly fair, so really no big advantage anywhere you look. No scratches in this race, but once again, Terry, another left arrow horse. Typically a closer that does have the ability to move forward today. 6-horse looks like of the horses that have early pace, the one that they're likely to chase after. And then as they're coming down the stretch, this 2-horse has a plus late pace advantage. That horse, if it's within 2 lengths of the leader with maybe 1/8 of a mile to go, could gobble up that ground and find its way into the winner's circle. All right, Mr. Terry, who do you think is going to be in the winner's circle?
All right. What I like is my first choice, the number 7, Killer Bee. He was doing well on the dirt, and then he tried turf in his last race. It did not appear like he liked it. So he now returns to dirt and switches to a new jockey. Then I like that number 2 that you were talking about, Rounder. He finished second in 2 races in a row, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. He's actually tied with another horse.
I think a lot of them have some similar numbers in this race, right?
That's true, yeah. And then your left arrow horse, number 1, Ashwin's Orb. He won his last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and he has a high percentage winning trainer. And then my fourth pick, number 4, is Outworking. He lost his jockey in his last race, so I'm going to throw that one out. And he finished in the money in his previous 5 races.
So it looks like through your first 2 races, Terry, the only number you're missing is the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. So you got to have the 6 for sure in the next race. For me, this is going to be my best bet of the day. I think there's quite a few horses in here that could run to form today. I'm going to start off with the 2-horse Rounder. Did tie for the top last race speed figure. Again, a bunch of horses did that, but has that enormous late pace edge. I feel like they're all going to be bunched up, and then this one's going to come blowing by at the end. Number 3, Shotgun Joe is yet again another one that did tie for that top last race speed figure. In doing so, it's staying in the claiming ranks. And when trainer Randy Matthews wins and stays in the claiming ranks, he's won 3 out of 10 the next time out. Quick math, that works out to be 30%. Number 8, Shipshape. It's the lone P horse in this field, so it's going to sit between the speed and the closers. Does tie for the best early pace, late pace combination in the field with a couple of others. And, if the horse looks the same, we're pretty similar with many others on paper. Why not take the 20-1 odds? I think it's a good value play. And then finally, my left arrow horse here, number 1, Ashwin's Orb, coming off the maiden win The 15th try, to me, that's not the most encouraging thing, but I don't mind if they win the maiden and yet another to tie with the top last race speed figure. So win the maiden with the top last race speed figure. It's one that I will consider, but most other times I kind of back off if they're coming off the maiden win, especially after 15 races. Race 3 is 1 mile and 70 yards. It's allowance of $41,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime, purse of 41 grand. And Horseshoe Indianapolis today flexing their versatility as we see a mile and a 70-yard race. Again, much like the mile and the 16th and a mile, early speed does win here. But this time around, we've seen inside-out bias. So the 1 does better than the 2, does better than the 3. And if you happen to wear an 8 or out, you get slapped with a big-time penalty. Fortunately, there is not that many horses in here today. But for the 3rd race in a row today, Terry, we are going to see a left arrow horse, number 2. This guy not only should have enough early pace to move him forward, but he has the top early pace by a plus margin by at least 5 points over the next horse, meaning the 2 horse could comfortably get on the lead, run a length ahead of everybody else for the first half mile. This other horse that usually is forwardly placed to 5 does also own the top late pace. So if the 5 gets to the front, you're not going to be able to pass what you can't catch, Terry. Who are they going to have to catch? Well, who won't they catch with your picks?
Well, I don't think they're going to catch that 5. I like the 5 as my first pick. Turbo 6-0. He won his last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then I like the number 1 horse, Grandin Bay. He will be closing to catch the leaders and try to win this race. And then I like that left arrow horse, the number 2, One Way Ray. He won his last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and the trainer-jockey combination the last 14 days have finished in the money in 3 out of 3 starts, and they've won 2 of those. And then number 3 is my 4th pick, Go Early, Stay Late. He won his last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis and has a high percentage winning jockey.
That sounds like every casino's motto, right? Go early, stay late. Catch all your money. All right, so for me, I'm going to go with number 5 as well, Turbo 6-0. This guy won his last race with a huge speed number jump. That's okay. And does have that plus early pace, late pace edge in here. But sometimes those speed jumps can be a red flag too. So sometimes you might see some regression the next race out. Number 2, One Way Ray is my left arrow horse. Does have that edge at 2 and 4 furlongs. Got the maiden special weight win in its last race, but this one could be better in the second start off the bench. Number 1, Grandin Bay, does ride that rail, which is a high win rate as well, and has some of the most late punch in the field. Finally, number 4, Musty Red. Tough call over your 3 for me, Terry. But just when you look at the numbers overall and you compare the 4 to the 3, it just looked to me like the 4 had the better numbers more consistently. Race 4 is next up on our list of things to talk about today at Horseshoe Indianapolis. Kind of liked it better when it was Indiana Grand. It was a little easier to say. 6 furlongs. This one's an allowance, $36,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime for a purse of $36,000. It's the first time we're going to see 6 furlongs. And at 6 furlongs, we have an early speed bias, as one can imagine. And the post positions play fair, so you're not going to get any edge, no matter what number your horse wears today. This race shape in a short field, 6-horse field, of which 5 of them either want to be on the lead or pressure. The 1, the 6, and the 4 all boxed off. They have a very similar early pace numbers. So as much as half of the horses could get to the front. And then you have a little bit of possibility of a speed melt up. And if that's the case, this 5-horse right here, it's got a plus late pace advantage. He's going to be looking at these 4 horses in front of him, just hoping they're going blistering fast so he can run by him at the end. Is that what he's going to do, Terry, in your opinion?
Well, I'll tell you what. I like the 4-horse. It's Kiss Me on Unconscious. She finished 3rd versus similar.
This is a horse racing show, Terry.
Yeah, she finished 3rd versus similar in her last race. Her best speed is fastest among these starters. Now, if those front runners do push each other. I think that 5's going to come. So it's my second choice, which is World Unite. She just missed in her last race. She only lost by a nose, and she has the highest last race speed rating. And then number 6, Blushing Belle. She ran second versus similar in her last race. She has a high percentage winning jockey. Then my 4th pick is number 2, Violent Wonder. She won her last race at Charlestown and has a good 4 furlong workout on November 3rd.
All right. I'm going to go off with that number 5 horse, World Unite. Probably not a bad idea, but this one had much, much better internal race numbers in that last race from beginning to end, which resulted in another horse that had a pretty big jump in its speed number. If it runs that same race, easy work here. But again, I worry about when you see a substantial increase, a little bit of regression. Kiss Me Osoni. Unconscious. Where did that come from, Theory? What are you thinking about, my man? Anyway, this one does have some back class. Did win its maiden special weight at $120,000 at Churchill Downs, by far the highest quality race in terms of where they got their maiden run. If he can run back to his back class, could make easy work of these horses as well. Number 2, Violent Wonder. Violent Wonder, eh? Got the maiden win in its last race at Charlestown. Comes back to Horseshoe Indianapolis, where the horse debuted, and it will definitely need to run more like it did at Charlestown than it did in its debut at Horseshoe Indy. And then finally, El Numero Uno, Big G Warrior. I think this one should get off to a fast start. When you look at the starts in the past performances, you see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So horse gets out of the gate quick. If she can carry her speed, it's another one that is a wire-to-wire candidate in this spot. It's also a candidate maybe to be in your hot dog pick 4, Terry, but it's not. So take us through. Well, you're going to single that 5 and live or die there, huh?
That's right. Yeah, I really don't like singling, but I don't have enough cash or budget to go any further than that. So, I used the 3 horses on the first leg, 3 horses in the second. Then I singled the 5, and I'm hoping that if I can get through to that, I've spread out a little bit in that 4th leg.
Yeah, you got 1 extra horse back in there, that 6 horse. For me, I felt like you could single a couple of these horses in here. For me, the ticket really centers around this 8 horse because I was just going to go with the 2 and the 3. But that 8 horse at 20-1 morning line odds in a race where a lot of horses have some similar numbers. If this 8 horse can come home and win that race, this is one that can maybe fatten out that ticket. So that one is the one that kind of set the tone. I wanted to make sure I got that 8 in my picks, not because I think it's got the best chance to win, but because, again, its numbers are on par with everybody else in that race. So why not give him a chance? Kind of like in the NFL when the quarterback just throws the ball up to give his receivers a chance to make a play. Well, I'm throwing the ball up, giving number 8 a chance to make a play. All right, Terry, let's continue on the Horseshoe Indianapolis card with race number 5. First time we're going to see a distance for the second time today. 6 furlongs, so back-to-back 6 furlong affairs. Optional claiming $40,000. This time the purse is only $38,000. Again, 6 furlongs, we have found that they have a speed bias. There isn't really any benefit to any particular post position, so any post position will work. Taking a look at our way to the winner's circle worksheet. Again, this race, Terry, is one that is very competitive as well. You notice down here, the 1, the 7, the 4, and the 5, all of these guys have very similar early pace numbers. And then the 6, the 3, the 7, and the 1 all have similar late pace numbers. So this field could be pretty bunched up all the way around the track. Nobody has a definitive advantage. Of the horses in here, the 1 and the 7 do have the best combination of early speed, late speed. They're the only 2 that are on both lists here, so that's not surprising. All right, Terry, surprise us with your picks for this spot.
All right. Well, I like to start out with the number 5 run-up. She ran second in her first race at Horseshoe Indianapolis and has 3 bullet workouts on the road. So she's blazing fast. Mm-hmm. And then number 1, Alberta Sun. She came in from Churchill Downs to try Horseshoe Indianapolis and finished second on her first try here. And she has a high percentage winning jockey. Then I like number 2, Lady Demare,
maybe?
Number 2.
Mm-hmm. That works.
She is perfect at Horseshoe Indianapolis. She's won 2 races out of 2 starts here. Then I like number 7, Off Ramp. She comes in from Colonial Downs and returns to dirt, which I think will help.
All right, I'm going to start off with number 5 here as well, Terry, like you. So if the fives win these 3 races, you and I are going to be pretty happy in here. Run Up ran much better 5.5 furlong time last time. I think it was like almost 2 seconds faster, and has an opportunity to be better in its second start off the bench. And since that race has a bullet workout on November 5th. So a lot of arrows pointing to number 5, Run Up. Number 1, Alberta Sun, second choice, just like you, Terry. In fact, all of my picks are the same as yours, or yours are the same as mine, I think is more likely. Alberta Sun, the 1 horse, very competitive race. So we'll go with the horse that has a top early pace, late pace combination. Lady Demare, undefeated in 2 spots at Horseshoe Indianapolis, including at the distance last time out. And then number 7, Off Ramp. This one should be close to the pace with 4 consecutive speed figure increases that resulted in the top last race speed figure. Race number 6 at Horseshoe Indianapolis is another 6 furlong, so a trio of 6 furlong races in a row. Again, early speed, no particular advantage, no matter which post position you get. Our second, no scratch here. Race number 6, I kind of screwed up. You can see my blotching out here. I meant to put the 2 horse. I accidentally put the 2 horse here, but I had to move them over here. Again, another race where you have a lot of early speed. All but 1 horse want to be forwardly placed. That should open this door up for the 4 with the top late pace figures in this field. At the very minimum, run by a lot of tiring legs late. Of the speed horses, it looks to me like the 6 horse might be the one that can carry its speed the most. It has the second best late pace advantage. Combine late pace and early pace, and the 6 horse gets the top marks there. Who gets your top marks, Terry?
Well, I totally agree with you. I like that number 6 horse. Too Bad Justice.
And that's your best bet of the day?
That's right. Best bet of the day. He has finished in the money in the last 4 races, and he drops in class today. Then I like that number 4 horse that you talked about, Amical. He had trouble in his last race, and he shortens up today's contest, which I think is going to be a plus. And then I like number 1, CeeLo Blue. He is back to 6 furlongs, the distance of his last win, and has a high percentage winning trainer. Then my 4th pick is number 2, Mr. Springtime. He has 2 wins at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters.
All right, before we get to Barry's question, let's talk a little bit about picks from the professor today. College basketball is in full swing, so the picks with the professor, he'll stand there, and I think he's got some slam dunk picks sometimes in college hoops. All plays of the day, 146, 1 and 10, up 21.77 units. Here you see the dog of the day. Well, he lost on Patreon only. The worst number out there, shop around. So he's like Portland State. I don't know what he's got going on today, but you're going to want to go over to the picks with the professor. Check that out. There's a link in the description below. If you watch his show on YouTube, make sure you hit the comment section. Let him know that you came from horseracingtoday.net. All right, let's get to Barry's question here real quick. If you have a question or a comment or picks, be like Barry, let us know in the comment section. We're glad to answer them. Good morning, fellas. Good morning, Barry. I keep reading and watching shows about handicapping them for part-time income. What's a realistic amount you should expect to make with investing about $500 a week? That's a pretty, I think, interesting question, Terry. I'll let you tackle it first, and then I'll give you my ideas.
Well, first of all, it has to do with how you are with your willpower. What you need to do is not bet everything that you come across. You need to just bet things that you really are pretty adamant about, pretty sure about. And don't bet a lot of the exotic type bets. You're going to bet probably the win and maybe some exactas, that sort of thing, maybe trifecta here and there. But I think you could do, at least 20% per week if you follow those rules. But that's very hard to do. I've never been able to do that in my 60 years of going to the horses. So,
well, those impulses will definitely put a burning in your pocket. That's for sure, Terry. I suffer the same same symptoms, I guess. We're going to need a commercial with that, with all sorts of side effects from Pfizer to go along with our COVID shots. But in any case, I would say I agree with Terry in this respect, and that you absolutely have to identify just a handful of horses throughout the course of the week or on the day. Center your bets around those horses. Another thing that I would recommend wholeheartedly that you do is chronicle every single thing that you do in like Excel. Make your rows and then make your notes, and you'll find time after time that there's certain things that you do right over and over again, certain things that you do wrong over and over again. So what you're going to want to do is eliminate the wrong, obviously, focus on what works for you, and then center your bets around that. And I think considering what the odds are, I think if you really, 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 really are disciplined, considering the odds in horse racing, you're going to get 1-1 or better on most. So if you're really disciplined, you're not going to take a horse that's under 1-1. I think, and realistically, you probably wouldn't take one under 2-1. So you'd want horses that are 2-1. Just mathematically speaking, if you have it to horse 2-1, you got to win 1 out of 3 to break even, right? So if you can win 2 out of 5, then you're going to make a little bit of money. So that's the way I would look at it. I would focus on horses that were 2-1 odds or more at post time, not morning line. And then from there, I would make certain I keep notes on everything I did, why I did what I did, see what's working, what's not working, and then only focus on those horses that you really, really like. And like Terry said, don't be tempted to chase or make bets that don't fit within those rules. And if that's the case, I think really you could probably double your money. But that's on the high end. All right, for me, race number 6, Terry, getting back to our picks. We do appreciate the question, Barry. If you have questions, comments, anything you want to know, just ask us. We're here it's a community. If we don't have the answer, maybe somebody else in the community probably does. Race number 6, for me, I'm going to start off with horse number 6, just like you, Terry. Too Bad Justice is a good name for a horse. Just missed in a state-restricted $250,000 non-graded stakes race. Trainer Tim Eggleston won 16 out of 49 times he's put a horse in an allowance race. Doesn't put many in, but boy, when he does, they win. My only concern is this horse does finish in the money heftily, 10 out of 11 races at Horseshoe Indianapolis, 2 wins, 2/3, but 6 times second. So sometimes a horse hangs at the end. Number 4, Amicable. Ran the same race as the top pick last time. Does have, as we mentioned in the Way to the Winners worksheet, the most late pace in a field that is just crowded with front runners. Number 1, CeeLo Blue. Well, Terry, you're in my notebook once again. The last time this horse went route to sprint, kind of bumbled along in the route, and then came back and won the sprint. Let's see if he can repeat that pattern today. Mr. Springtime, boy, Terry, with the first snowfall in Chicago, I can't wait for Mr. Springtime. Was a tough call for me over the 7, but the 7 horse at the distance has tried it 9 times, only managed 1 second in there. Second off the layoff for the 2 horse, Mr. Springtime. My concern there is the other 2 times that this horse ran second off a layoff regressed in both of them. So if he regresses again, that last race was awful. I'll probably wish I had gone with the 7. All right, Terry, race number 7 is your box it up. Why don't you give me your 4 numbers real quick while I walk through the Way to the Winner's Circle?
All right, let me do that for you. My 4 numbers are the 6, the 2, the 7, and the 1.
6, 2, 7, 1. All right. So race number 7, this thoroughbred race is a mile and a 16th, just like we started the card. Allowance, optional claiming, $12,500. Non-winners of 1. Purse is $22,000. Again, at a mile and a 16th. The favored way to get to the winner's circle is to have a little bit of early speed, preferably post 2 through 7. If you ride the rail or you get an 8 or higher, there can be a little bit of a penalty there. In race number 7, we have our second scratch of the day, which is kind of surprising. That 3 horse is out. So there's really not a lot of horses that typically want to be the pilot or co-pilot. That's going to go to the number 1 or the number 2. The 1 horse is our 3rd left arrow horse on the day. These 2 should move forward. Every other horse in this field wants to close. So these 2 horses that typically pressure and close are going to be in a unique spot. They can probably set the tempo, run comfortable fractions all the way around the track. Terry, in race number 7, how do you see this race playing out?
Well, I'm taking one of those closers, number 6, Gold Buckle. He's won 3 out of the last 4 races, which means he likes to win, and the distance is something he can handle. Then I like number 2, Red Skies at Night. He drops in class today and has a good trainer and jockey. Then number 7 is my 3rd pick, Purple Shirt. He has finished in the money in 3 out of his last 3 starts, finishing in 3rd in his last start. And then I like number 1, Mystery Unbridled. He has an early foot, and he'll use this early running style to try to help him win the race.
He's going to giddy up and go and see if he can get his way from go to photo. Right, Terry?
That's right.
All right. So for me, race number 7 is my long shot in here. Kind of tough today in the thoroughbred races to find any horse that really is a standout. So I'm going to go with number 6, Gold Buckle, as my top choice, Terry. Won his last race, does like to run the routes, done it 6 times, won 4 of them with a third in there. Ton of late pace for the 6-horse, Gold Buckle. And, I don't think they're going to be all that far off the lead considering the way the early speed scratched out. Number 2, Red Skies at Night, drops in class after showing much better pace numbers at 2 and 4 furlongs in that last race. So the drop and the improvement, maybe the ingredients to a win. Number 1, Mystery Unbridled is my third choice in here, is my left arrow horse. Has a ton of back speed, is the lone PC in here, and has the best numbers at Horseshoe Indianapolis, both at the track and at the distance. Finally, number 7, Purple Shirt, was a tough call over the 4 for me. Both are closers, but he has the better numbers and performed better when facing up against many of these horses previously. The last thoroughbred race of the day is number 8. This one's 5.5 furlongs. It is an allowance for 38 grand. The purse is 38 grand. It's the first time today that we see 5.5 furlongs. As you can imagine, early speed matters. Yeah, it's a sprint. That's the way it goes. Post 1 through 7, they play fair. 8 and out, a small discount in here, Terry. And the last time today, we're going to see the way to the winner's circle worksheet. Did get a scratch in here, the 3-horse, which I feel like would have been a very competitive offering. The 1-horse now assumes the role as the speed, does have some really early pace figures that merit an opportunity for the horse to pull the cart. Another left arrow horse in here today, this 7-horse, going to be a factor early on, maybe in front of some of these other horses. So this is a race that could shape up kind of funny. Terry, in this race, tell us how you see it shaping up at the end.
Yeah, they did scratch that horse, and that was my top pick. So I went to the number 1, and I think you pronounce it Anita. She has
Anita. We'll go
Anita.
Or Anita. Okay. Well,
Anita. Anyway, she's finishing the money in 6 out of 7 career races and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And then I went with the number 4, Splash of Tonic. She tried this turf, and she didn't have very good results, so she should improve while returning back to dirt, as her best dirt speed's fastest among today's starters. And then I like the number 6, Time to Confess. She almost lost her jockey in the last race, so I'm going to throw that race out. Prior to that race, she finished in the money in 4 races in a row, and she won one of those starts. And then number 7, that left arrow horse, Her Way is my 4th pick. She won her last race at Horseshoe Indianapolis, and she has a high percentage winning trainer.
I'm going to go with that 7 up front in my box it up, Terry, which is where we take 4 horses, stick them together in a $1 exacta box, 50-cent try, 10-cent superfecta. Kind of hard to find a race today where a lot of horses, where you might get 4 horses at decent prices. Her Way did run the top last race speed figure and was a lot better late in her last race. Number 4, Splash of Tonic, is the lone EP horse in a field. So you got to have those horses. Nice work on October the 18th. So the horse looks like it's getting ready for this spot. Number 1, Anita, should be on the gas from go. Try to take him from go to photo. Horseshoe Indianapolis, 6 races, 1 win, 4 thirds. So you see it's in 3rd place, right where it belongs. At the distance 3 times, 1 win, and of course 2 thirds. So right where she belongs. Was the favorite last time out, got beat, but trainer Randy Klopp does win 24% the next time around the track with a beaten favorite. And then finally, number 5, Molly's Warrior, has the most late octane in his group by a pretty good margin. Fresh off the bench, hasn't worked well for her yet. So I think the horse will factor in the end. It's kind of a Tom horse. Will it finish in the money? Probably. Win? Nah. And then, so I just put it in the winner's circle. Race number 8 finishes up the thoroughbred racing of the day. Also puts together our prime rib pick for us, Terry. A little bit bigger budget. You were complaining about the smaller budget in the hot dog pick 4. So I give you a little bit more money here. Tell us why this one's going to win.
Well, I spread out in that first leg. I always like to do that if I can, because I like to get through that first leg at least. And I used my best bet of the day, but I backed it up with the 4 horse. And then in the 7th and 8th race, the 7th I went 4 horses. In the 8th race, I spread out a little more because I think that's also very competitive.
Yeah, I feel like the first race, the 6 horse is, I feel like a pretty good, high likely winner, one of the highest likely winners on the card. But I think he's probably going to be down, well bet down. And so I'm hoping to maybe catch something behind him, the 1 or the 4, to kind of backdoor my way into a backdoor pick 4. Those 2 races, the first 2, I think are going to probably go to form. I do think there's an opportunity for prices in the back end, especially if weather moves in from Chicago towards Indiana. We'll see how that plays out. Again, here are our full picks for the day, starting, of course, race number 1. My best bet is in race number 2. Terry's best bet's in race number 6. I agree with him. I think that 6 horse is one of the most likely winners on the card. Terry's long shot's coming up, Terry. So these are 330-yard lottery ball winners. So who's your long shot in this 330-yard quarter horse race?
Okay. Well, it was hard for me to find a long shot in the thoroughbreds, so I went to the quarter horses. And I personally like quarter horses. So in this 9th race, I like as my long shot, number 4, Beachfront. He was caught at the wire, and he only lost by a nose at 350 yards. And now he shortens up to 330, which I think will help. And then I like number 1, Zoman Annie. She finished in the money in 4 out of the last 5 races and loves to be in the mix. Number 6, Secret Eyes. He's won 2 out of 5 races at Horseshoe Indianapolis. And then my 4th pick is number 7, Governor K. He has finished in the money in 5 out of 8 races at Horseshoe International, winning 2 of those races.
So I'm going to go with the 1 horse, Zoomin' Annie. That's my first pick. Number 6, Secret Eyes. Number 2, Age Enthusiasm. Not quite sure how you pronounce AJK together, but all consonants, no vowels. Well, there's a vowel, the A. All right, and then number 9, the outside horse. You always have to have the outside horse, Terry, when you're doing these quarter horse races because they get the cleanest trip. And this one's a bomb, too. So it's 2 Ya Booyah DHD, whatever. That's the horse that is going to be on the outside. I think it's like 30-1 morning line. So that's Terry's long shot. My long shot is in race number 7, the 6 horse. So happened to be Terry's number 1 pick. It's also a part of his box it up in race number 7. My box it up, race number 8, 4 horses, $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box. Hot dog pick 4s, where Terry complains about the budget every day, $20 or less. Terry's singling to 5. I'm going to go 2-3-2-3 because I wanted to get that 8 horse in there at a nice price. And then finally, our prime rib horse, prime rib pick 4, where Terry gets to spend more in line with how he normally bets. 6 and 4 are going to be the weak points for him. My weak points are basically 5 and 6. Let's see what happens in race 7 and 8 as we both have a lot of coverage there. And that wraps up our talk today for Horseshoe Indianapolis. If you're going to bet today at Finger Lakes, the place to be is Guaranteed Tip Sheet. It's our free track today. There's a link in the description down below. Of course, you'll find it also on our social sites at Horse Race, the number 2 day. Click on Finger Lakes, and you'll see today in race number 1, the 5 horse Old Man Winter, which is showing its ugly head here in Chicago today. So I guess it is an omen. That horse is the first pick in race number 1. All right, Terry, that wraps up our show for today. Tomorrow, Charles and I will be back at the same time to discuss Churchill Downs. Thursday, we'll go after Aqueduct. Friday, Foreign Fridays with Tom. No idea what we're doing yet, but as soon as we know, we'll let you know. Saturday, we'll be back. Not quite sure what track we'll do Saturday, but we'll cover the one with all the major stakes races. And then, of course, tonight, Sean and I will be back with Kendrick Carmouche at 8 o'clock. You're going to want to make sure you check that out. And then tomorrow night, Sean and I will say hello to a good friend of the show, CC Perkinson, as we go back to Turf Paradise. That wraps up what it is we're doing for the rest of this week, Terry. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you later. Give your loved ones a hug and a kiss, and stay lucky.
Yeah, stay lucky. How about we get lucky to start with? I've been a little bit cold lately, so I'm looking for a little luck my way. So one of the things you can do if you're not having a lot of luck, Terry, is smile. As I said before, according to research, if you smile, it releases endomorphine. So even if you're having a tough day, fake a smile and you'll feel better. Hopefully, too, Terry, you'll feel a lot better at the end of the day after watching our show. Again, if you haven't done so, put your thumbs up on YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, follow us on our social sites. And the reason you'll feel a little bit better, hopefully, is because, hold on one second, Terry. Thank you, Aaron, for watching. Parks, just curious, why not Parks again today? We like to do a little bit of different tracks from day to day, though a couple people, it's different folks from different parts of the country. And one other Turkey. We have a lot of folks that tune in from Turkey. And in Turkey on Tuesdays, they can pet Horseshoe Indianapolis. Another reason why. But thank you for watching. And then does Cabos something about horses in? I am not sure, Marty. Well, I'll look that up and we'll try to get back to you in the comment section. So come back to the comment section. All right, so Terry, as I was going to say, hopefully one thing that'll make you smile today is that your day, wherever you're doing it, your day today, whether it's at the track, you're doing college basketball, whatever it is you're doing, we hope you ended up smiling because you ended up in the
winner circle.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this Terry Tuesday. Looking forward to being again with you later on today and tomorrow. Have a great day.